You're already giggling. Hi, everyone. We are live. I'm here with Sherry, already giggling away. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Josefine. I'm a former corporate executive turned entrepreneur and business growth strategist. And I have a series that I call Josefine Meets, where I get to meet really inspiring people just like Sherry. So hi, Sherry. So happy to have you here.
Hi, Josephine. I was loving that music, that your countdown. You're going to have to show me how you did that, because that just immediately gets you in the mood.
It definitely does. I said once when I had one of these guests on, I said, that's almost the best thing about the whole show.
Yeah,
You
right?
can always just do that countdown and then just stop it. So hi, Sherry. Tell us a little bit about yourself and you.
Sure. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 25 years, pretty much always worked for myself. Online, well, not online coach, but I've been a coach for 20 years. Been mainly in the health and fitness space for 15 of those 20. Went 100% online in 2017 and became a 100% online coach since then. So I did the whole, all of the digital marketers and Alex Ramosys and the Tanner Chitisters and the ClickFunnels, 2 Comma Clubs. I've invested in them all. So I've just taken in massive amounts of information when it comes to building your business online, specifically in the coaching space. So last year, as I'm getting close to 50, don't tell anyone.
Oh, me
Don't
too.
tell anyone, okay?
This year.
I'm not 50 yet, but I'm like, you know what? I need a change. I really want to change the next half of my life. So pivoted over into focusing on something I've been studying immensely for the last however many years it's been now, 6-7 years. So that's where we are.
And that is so exciting. So today's topic is going to be about how to leveraging your network to increase or build your net worth. And I know that when you kind of started to think about kicking off this new era of or like the second part of your life, you have done an incredible inspiring number of coffee chats, interviews as part of your market research. 75
in 1 month. Yeah,
in 1 month. So people who then say, oh, I don't have time to do market research, it's just a bad excuse. So tell me, why did you think about, because I guess 75 of these were some of your old network, but many of them were probably also from your new network.
No, all new brand connects. So first of all, in 2003, I launched the Women's Entrepreneurial Networking System, and I ran that for 6 years. And I started that company simply because I just wanted to get out and meet more people. I was quite isolated in what I was doing professionally at that time. So I started this networking group, and then that really taught me a very powerful lesson of just how much can happen when you focus a lot of your attention on one-to-one meetups. So I carried that into my fitness career. And in the first month of me launching my fitness career, I made $10,000 in sales simply because I asked the gym to give me their member list, and I was going to call them and offer them a free consultation. Now, at that time, no one did free consults. I mean, now it's like disgusting how much, it's like
it's
way
standard. Yeah.
But back then, personal trainer wouldn't meet you for free. That's for sure. So, when, in that business, it's always the way that I've started my business, is to just get out there and start talking to people. And that way you're not living in your head. You're living in 75 different heads, and you're like, learning from the conversations that you've had with them, because economies change, dynamics change, technology changes. Of course, we know online changes like this. How is that affecting people? And because it changes so much, the conversation you had last year is not the same conversation you're going to have today.
Especially also not since you're pivoting your business, you're doing something completely different compared to what you did before. I see we have a couple of guests here or viewers. Okay. Please add some comments when you feel to add or ask a question, because what we have here is now a person who has extremely a lot of knowledge when it comes to building your online business independently in which area it might be, who's a kind of like the expert on market research when it comes to just talking to people, because as you say, that is key. Just listen to what they say. How did you find these 75 people? Because I think people were like, 75, where the heck did you find them? So where did you find these 75 people?
So in December, I joined a networking group where you and I connected originally. And that was specifically because I wanted to be in connection with the people that I wanted to work with, both professionally on a personal level, but I could also get really great insight to my potential future customers. So even though I had no intention of like selling to that network, it was a great learning opportunity to go and tap into what are their challenges right now, what are they facing, and get the real dynamics of the different varieties of businesses and how they were affected today, specifically, like with this recession coming and all, payments are being pulled back. High ticket sales are, harder during this season. So how is that affecting them? And then what am I able to bring to the table to help them?
So it's actually taken a conscious decision to join these groups to actually gain access to more information.
Correct. And you got to pay for that, because people in those groups are going to take you seriously. If you've paid to be in a group and someone is reaching out to you from the group you're paying to be in, you're definitely more willing to interact with that person. And that's why in all of my interactions, I gave no sales pitch whatsoever. In fact, I offered case studies, just 100% for free. I took on 10 case studies out of those 75 people, and I got amazing testimonials from the people that I helped and worked with, and then also just was able to build rapport and build other connections. I was able to get featured on podcasts. I got invited to a summit. I had someone help me with my website. Just like it goes on and on and on, from the types of connections that I made and why it was so effective in investing some time. You can't spend too much time. At middle of February, I pulled back and I said, okay, it's enough with the chatting. I got to start doing, right? And you have to start putting everything together after you've taken it all in. Okay, now head down and get to work.
But I also think that since you spent this month of January or until mid of February to really do some deep dive and really thorough discussions, and during this month, it's like so well invested time that you will be able to carry that with you. As you said, you also got amazing testimonials and feedbacks. We have Jill's with us with a comment here. Using digital as a means to an end, that end is remembering we are human.
Yes.
Nothing beats face-to-face. It's connectedness versus simple connections. Yes, definitely, Jill.
More important now than ever. You've got the recession, you've got the war, you've got ChatGPT, you've got automation, AI, you've got a major layoff, across, the world with their jobs. So what's happening is people are living in crazy amounts of fear and anxiety right now. And when you bring an extraordinary human touch to your conversations, to your reach outs, and just come with pure authenticity. Like, I really think that, I'm sure DMing for dollars, works, and it still works. But I think that people now, I think Josefine and I talked about this on our first call, it's just people are just disgusted with that at this point, and it's just got to be more real, more authentic. So when you get on these coffee chats with people, there's plenty of people willing to have a coffee, and a lot of them will say, as long as you're not going to pitch me anything, I'm totally cool to meet you. So I think it's really important that now when you're being intentional about jumping on these calls, go in with zero intention to sell. Learn, plant some seeds. First of all, find out if you and that person are even a good fit. And that's one great qualifying call in and itself. Does that person really need my service? And then you can build the relationship from there.
Definitely. I definitely agree. And also I've had 2 DMs today only from like the same company. And you smell it. You smell it when they are trying to pitch you. And you're like, no, just stop it. And I actually tested one of them and I asked a question back. And when you don't get when they totally dodge your own questions, it's not even, they're not even interested in getting to know you. So we have Christine with us here too. Hi, Christine. So happy to have you here as a guest too. We have a couple of more guests. If you want to say hi in the chat, we're more than happy to know who you are. If you have any questions when it comes to building your business or when it comes to networking, then please feel free to add those questions in the chat. So out of these 75 people now, I guess you also got information that you can't really use, but now you're distilling that information. So what are your next steps, Sherry?
Well, it's great because from there, I was able to create my entire course outline. And that course outline might have been completely different without those calls, in really understanding what those challenges were. So when you consume a lot of content from courses and YouTube and everything else, and then it's like a recipe. And now you take all that information, especially real data from real coaches who are experiencing significant problems, and you're able to put together something pretty amazing. So with that, I was able to come up with the Profit Powerhouse system, and in my opinion, it's a complete game changer, and we'll be launching in the spring.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And talking to people, when I kicked off my business, or not my business, but when I kicked off my new journey, I was like, okay, I need to do a course. So what I did was I stayed inside my head. I didn't dare to talk to a single person. I thought I was going to create this. I started created, and I did this 10 months, and that course wasn't even published. It wasn't even published because
That's painful.
Talking to people, for 75 people for 1 month is like in comparison to the time I spent not talking to anyone with nothing as a result. But I think we also learn from our mistakes. We have Tanya with us here too. Hi, Tanya. So lovely to have you here. And Jills is saying, calibrating your offering to what people actually need. Exactly.
Correct. And then in that case, to follow up on Jills, is, you don't actually create the course until you run your first cohort. And the course is created on a beta with live people. And that way you've got the opportunity to course correct. So as you're delivering the content, if it's being received well, you keep going as originally scheduled. But if it's not being received well and you need to pivot, you can do that in live time with real people and respond to what they really need as it's happening. So if your course is designed, let's say you create your outline, but when you go to deliver it in your Zoom calls, you're 1 or 2 steps ahead, but now you're implementing the feedback you're getting from your people as you're creating.
Yeah, absolutely. So I run similar processes when I teach my clients, the same thing too. And the thing I notice then is when we talk about beta, we talk about running this before it's created. That often creates a little bit of insecurity, and how can I then sell it even if I haven't created yet? What are your thoughts about that, to sell it to a founder's price, for example?
Well, the knowledge is here. It is here, it is created. So if you are qualified to be coaching and you feel like you have significant data to share with people, then it doesn't really matter. I'm telling you, people don't care how fancy your crap is. I mean, they don't care how fancy your book is. And sure, all of that stuff helps in the sales process. But when you're just starting, if people like you and you get on a call with them and they're like, hey, Sherry's really cool, and they're like, she really knows a lot of stuff, like that was helpful, and you were able to offer value on that first call, and you're like, yeah, well, I'm going into much greater detail in that, starting in a month from now, if you want to join. And then you get them into a Facebook group and you just show up live on your Zoom or however you decide to do it. That's it. Like, that's all you need. So if the data is here and you can pull from your knowledge, that should be here anyways, right? Like, if you're qualified, it's already in here. And then once it's proven, people respond to it, they've got results from it, then you can start getting fancy with all your stuff.
Yeah. And I think you said a really important piece. It's like you need to be 1 or a couple of steps ahead of them, which you are, especially when you're co-creating, because then you also ask them, what is it that you need? What do you need to take it to the next step? So we have a question here from Tanya, and I saw you rephrase it, Tanya, but I will take this one. When creating successful online business, is there a difference between online and offline networking? And then she rephrased it. She said, do you need to network in person, or is online communication all you need?
So the first thing is, you'll get a greater impact networking in person for sure, but it's awfully time consuming. The hair, the makeup, the drive, the parking, the getting in, the putting off the coat, putting on the coat, getting home, reestablishing yourself back at work. So the cost of time, in my opinion, outweighs the pro of in person. Now, if you are part of a hobby or a community where 20 people get together on a regular basis, and those people change week to week, but you're all involved in like a sport, or you're doing something fun, you're doing something that's just part of your life outside of work, but it still has an opportunity for networking. Absolutely, that's great, because really great relationships can be established in person. But for a time efficiency, you can get the same results by getting into groups and building up some relationships in the groups. And I think the biggest problem that people have is that they have a time issue, and they're afraid of not putting their time in the right place. So they become impatient. So if they jump into a group for 2 or 3 days and they're not seeing results, they pivot into something else. And that's where the showing up day after day, commenting on people's posts, interacting with them after several days or even weeks of commenting on their posts, then you can message them because they know your name. Your name has come up a lot in the group. So rather than join 40 different groups, find one group where your avatar is sitting and live in it, so that if I can offer a suggestion in how you structure your day, if you are an online course or a coach, the morning is all about creation, because that's when your brain is the sharpest. Shut off all notifications and just put on some music and get that content out. But in the afternoon, have lunch, come back, and it's just pure straight networking time. Live in those groups for the afternoons would be my recommendation for that.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation. To also spend, my family is coming home, so if there are any noise in the background, that's because things
Hashtag real life.
Exactly. I think that so many coaches or many business coaches really speak about this Facebook group networking thing, that you should be in Facebook groups, as you said. But I think the difference that you're saying is find one group and be in that group. And I think that is key, because if you try to do it all, you're not doing anything. The same thing when you start your business, or if it's not really kicking off, pick one social media platform and be there, not all of them, and pick the one that you really like to be on. So we have a comment here from Tanya saying, I heard a lot of complaints from people who paid a lot of money for a course that they received a low quality product. They don't talk about the content, but the quality of the videos. What is your take on that? I know what my take on that is. I can start. My take is, if the transformation is there, if the information is there, doesn't matter if the videos aren't great. When the business, the network that you and I met in, when I joined that, there were no videos at all. There were voice recordings. That's what it was, and that was more than sufficient. There were kind of regular cohort meetings, etc. So I don't think it's about the video, if it's the right square, or if it has subtitles or not. I think it's about the content. What do you think, Sherry?
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're selling an online course to live on ClickBank, and the course is the product and the only product, then I agree that quality of the course in its presentation should be elevated, because that's the product. That's what you're trying to sell exclusively. But when you're inviting people into a Facebook group and you're recording the content, especially with automation and AI coming more and more strongly each day, content is not what you're selling anymore. Content can be acquired like this. People need execution. They need accountability. They need to talk about it. They need their own personal, like how, but my business is different. So how do I do it? So when someone is working behind their desk and they're isolated and they got all this content and they've been told what to do, they still have problems in execution. It's fear-based, uncertainty. They're still fumbling around. And sometimes people need that hand by hand, step by step guidance. And just even to feel like they're in a community doing it with other people allows them to have that momentum. So in your course creations and in your products that you're coming in 2023, even more than ever, and I cannot stress this enough, you have to prioritize your customer's experience as the number one priority above all else. The touch points, the way you recognize them, their onboarding and offboarding experience, the way they're handled with the coaches working for you, or if you are the coach, that's the stuff that matters, and that's paramount. You can log into Zoom, you can get a Logitech camera for $100. It'll give you good quality, good sound, and that's it. That's all that you need on that front. But your course is all about them, and that's really important.
Yeah. So maybe it was that then, Tanya, if we go back to that course, that there was no accountability. It was just a course as such, and then it's difficult to meet. It actually goes a little bit back to this whole co-creation, because then maybe that course was outdated and no longer met the requirements that the clients had. But it's difficult to say because we don't know the course.
And to jump on that, like, there's two factors here. Number one, there's a lot of crap being issued out nowadays from unqualified people who have no business being a coach. That's a really important one. And so many people are being told on YouTube, hey, put a course together in 24 hours and start selling it. So I think that you need to authenticate the person that you're buying first and foremost. You can go on Scamrest, you can go on Yelp, you can go on the Better Business Bureau, you can go on all these different Trustpilot, these different websites, and make sure you've done your homework, especially if you're spending more than $5,000 on a course. Make sure you know and have authenticated the teacher. Paramount. And then the other part of that, the other side of it, is that you will always get people who didn't do the work. They came in, they paid the money, they didn't get the work, and they've got to find some reason why the course was not good enough. So there is a seesaw balancing act with that. And it really comes down to you. Did you learn anything? Did you execute on it? Did you get success? Did the course get you to do something? And did you get an ROI from it? If it's a even losing weight is an ROI, right? You get your return on investment when you can put on your jeans again, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And even if you think about, so when I did my first online course, or tried to create it, where I sat there 10 months, I had bought an online course on how to make the online course. It was beautifully made. It has all this different content in it. It cost me $997, I think it was. It was so beautiful that it actually created a little bit of a imposter syndrome for me, because I was not yet there. So I got stuck in all what were the applications I was supposed to have. And since it didn't have any accountability, since it didn't have anyone that I could ask for advice, ask, how do I take this further? How do I continue? I wasn't successful. Did that have to do with the course? No, because she didn't promise that either. She didn't say that that would be entailed in that course. But I learned so much from that piece. Things that I will never do again, things that I also don't advise my clients to do. And I do it differently. So independently of what we do or what we invest in, I think we learn a lot from that too, even if it wasn't, maybe not the outcome that we had expected, like in my case, with the 10 months not daring to take the step to talk to anyone.
I hope you can repurpose it now. Have you gone through it? Is it anything you can pull from today?
I don't know. It was more, I don't know. It was more life coaching, because back then I was more into life coaching. So it was more from that piece. And no, it's more, it's more the learning, the experience of actually how not to do it. I think that is more that I pull from it. I could probably pick out some old slides that I created, because I got so stuck in this whole analysis paralysis and creating not only in the morning, but the whole day, right?
Yeah.
So if you would kind of like, if we have someone who is like, oh shit, I need to do my market research, what would be, even if they are like in the middle of their business, what would you advise them to do? What would be their first step to do?
Well, I can suggest what I did, which was get out there and talk to people. It doesn't have to be more scientific than that. Your avatar is there, hopefully, because you need someone to sell to. Go find them and get on the phone with them and just start asking them questions. An example was I was going to buy, those Jugo juices. Maybe you guys have them in the US. I'm not sure. Anyways, it's like a booster juice kind of a place. And in my 20s, I was going to buy one of those franchises. So, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to even run that business. So I'm in Canada. So I called up, a good 40 or 50 different franchises across Canada. And I'm like, hey, I'm in Montreal. You're in Toronto. We're in no competition with one another. I just wanted to know, like, how do you like running this business? What does your daily life look like? What's it like, managing the employees? What are the expenses? Are you really making a good profit? Are you living there? What are the things that are happening? Are things getting stolen? What are some things I should think about? Like, so I pummeled them with questions and I went straight across Canada and I talked to 50 people when I did that. When I was going to buy a gym, before I went online, I was thinking about, well, maybe I'll buy an existing gym to help my gym scale. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay. So I went on to businesses for sale and I called 50 gyms in the US and I said, please give me your financials. And they set me up, after the NDA, what the money looked like. And I said, okay, do I like that life? What does it look like? How am I going to spend my time? Where is that located? Blah, blah, blah. So I've always done it that way, but there's someone out there who has the answers to your puzzle. And you just got to get on the phone, get on a Zoom, get on Facebook, get somewhere and, message them and say, I got some questions for you. I'm researching something, thought I'd pick your brain. Are you open to that? Yes or no? The worst they're going to say is no. Okay, next. People will. They love to talk. People will.
That is so cool. Do we have any questions coming in? Otherwise, we will start rounding this up. If you have any questions, if you're watching the replay afterwards, please do #replay so that we see that, Sherry and I, so that we can pick up on any questions that you might have. Sherry, how can people connect with you? Because we stream this live to LinkedIn. We stream this into my Facebook group, the Online Entrepreneurs Facebook group. And we stream this to my YouTube account, which I saw has 47 subscribers now. I'm growing every day.
Yay! It's exciting, right?
yeah. Every little step counts. So how can people connect with you, Sherry?
Absolutely. Just going to my website, sherrythacker.com. My email is s@sherrythacker.com. I'm on all the socials. I'm all over Google for sure from my fitness career. So if you Google me, I'll come up everywhere for that. So either of those places, LinkedIn, Facebook, go to my website. There's a calendar link there. By all means, book a call if you want to just chat, get to know each other. If you have some questions, I'm here to help you. No problem.
That is so amazing. That is so cool. So thank you so much, Sherry, for being a guest on Josefine Meets today. And please, if you have any questions, the people who are watching this or watching the replay, add them below. If you also would give us kind of like your key takeaway, that would be fantastic if you would do us that service. So see you all next week. Next week it's on Tuesday at 5. Bye, everyone.